Welcome back to our Kegels in Motion series. This is the third and final video in this series. Real life is in motion and your Kegel training should be as well. In part 1 and 2 of this series, we covered how to connect your brain, breath, and your pelvic floor for an optimal Kegel, and also how to incorporate that into body weight movements. In today's video, we're going to be kicking it up a notch and adding 15 to 20 pound weights with our movements. If you think that sounds heavy, I want to remind you that that's the weight of an average bag of groceries, your toddler, an empty car seat, etc. In order for our pelvic floor to be able to carry that amount of load without aches, pains, or leaking, we need to be able to train that pelvic floor under those loads just like any other muscle. So for today, you're gonna need a comfortably heavy weight for you. I'm gonna be using a 20-pound weight myself to be going over these movements. Let's dive in. First, a brief review of our breath and our pelvic floor. So when I cue an inhale, I want you to feel that relaxation of your entire pelvic floor. From your pubic bone, creating space between your sits bones and relaxing all the way back to your tailbone. When I cue you to exhale, I want you to feel the connection and the contraction of that pelvic floor, starting at your tailbone, coming to the space and drawing your sits bones together, and then continuing that contraction all the way up to your pubic bone. I want you to feel these two different phases in your body as we go through the exercises in this series. Let's get moving. We're starting with a goblet squat. Hold your weight at your chest. Feet are shoulder distance apart. We're gonna inhale, letting our low belly expand and pelvic floor lengthen as we sit back into our imaginary chair, hinging at our hips as you lower down. At the bottom here, you're gonna pause and exhale, connecting your pelvic floor and your low abdominals as you stand back up tall. Again, inhaling to lower, sitting back into that imaginary chair behind you. Exhale to press back up tall. As we keep going through this motion, inhale to lower, exhale to press through your full foot as you stand back up tall. That helps us to connect with our hip muscles and our pelvic floor more effectively. As you inhale and lower down, exhale to press back up tall, being sure that your pelvis doesn't press forward past your rib cage, but stays stacked at the top. Again, inhaling to lower down, lengthening the pelvic floor and low abdominals. Exhale to connect and contract as we press back up. One more time, inhaling to lower. Exhale to stand back up tall. Next, we're going to transition into a loaded lunge. Take that weight on the same side as your front leg and take a comfortable step back behind you. You're going to begin by inhaling to expand your low abdominals and your pelvic floor as you hinge at your hip and lower your body down to the floor. Exhale to connect your pelvic floor and low abdominals as you stand back up tall. Again, inhale to expand as you lower your body down, hinging at your hip to really help that glute of the front leg support you. Exhale to press up through that front leg, using your pelvic floor and your low abdominals to do that work with you as well. Again, inhaling to lower, hinging at your hip. Exhale to stand back up tall. Note that as you lower down with your breath, we want about 80% of the work in our front leg and only about 20% in the back leg. Really press through that front foot as you breathe out to come back up to tall standing. One more time, inhale to lower. Exhale to drive back up tall. I'm going to switch the weight onto the other side. So again, taking that comfortable step back, weight is on the same side as my front leg. I'm going to inhale to expand my low belly and my pelvic floor as I lower down, hinging my torso slightly on that 45-degree angle. Exhale to connect my pelvic floor and my lower abdominals as I stand back up. Inhale to lower. Exhale to drive back up tall. As I lower down, be sure that your two front hip bones stay pointing straight ahead and stay that way as you stand back up tall. No twisting or rotating. Again, inhale to lower, expanding the pelvic floor and low abdominals. Exhale to stand back up tall. One more time, inhale to lower. Exhale to drive back up tall. Finally, we're gonna build off of this by adding a single leg stance to challenge our balance and our pelvic floor. You're gonna hold your weight at your chest. You're gonna inhale to expand your low abdominals and your pelvic floor as you lower down. Exhale to press into your front leg as you come up to a single leg stance. Inhale to reach back and lower. Exhale to drive up tall. Again, inhale to step back, lowering down. Exhale to drive up tall. As you keep breathing and moving, as you lower down, keep that hinge of your torso so you can really press into that front leg and that front leg glute to help you stack your body in that single leg stance. Also be sure as you lower down, you have your inhale, exhale, keeping the rib cage, pelvis stacked right over your heel. Again, reaching back, inhale to lower, exhale to stand tall. One more time, inhale, exhale to drive up. Let's switch sides. So begin by taking that step back like you're in your lunge position. We're gonna inhale to expand our low belly and our pelvic floor as we lower down. Exhale to stand up tall. Inhale to reach back and lower. Exhale to drive up, finding our standing leg glute, our core, and our pelvic floor. Again, inhale, exhale, keeping that rib cage stacked right over the pelvis, right over our standing heel. One more time, inhale, exhale. Ooh. Almost lost my balance there. And stepping back to finish. Note that if one side is harder than the other, this is a good indication of practicing a little bit more on that side because our hip muscles and our pelvic floor muscles work together. I recommend practicing this series daily and gradually increasing your weights over time. The majority of my patients notice a significant improvement in their pelvic floor strength and coordination in 2 to 4 weeks of daily practice with these specific exercises. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself with weights. Loading our body with weights that mimic real-life loads is how we build strong bodies and pelvic floors faster, and ones that are capable of lifting heavy groceries, toddlers, strollers, and so much more. Thank you for joining me in this Kegels in Motion series. I hope it changed the way you think about pelvic floor strengthening and gave you new tools to take into your workouts and day-to-day life. Let me know in the comments below what questions you have, what things you found most helpful about this series, and what pelvic health topics you'd like to learn about in future videos. Remember, stop just squeezing and start lifting your way to a strong pelvic floor.